Hi, I'm Troy Taylor, and I've spent the last 14 years working as a Lean and Toyota Production Systems scholar and practitioner. What I've learned over my time in this line of work is that many efforts to implement Lean do not sustain in the long term, and that a business's failure or success rests largely on the shoulders of its leadership teams. These teams are, at the outset, very often ill-prepared for the Lean journey, which after all is a journey with no destination, and therefore requires the constant and continuous effort to keep being applied. What I'd like to present to you today are 5 simple steps for leaders that will prepare your leadership teams better and ultimately support the long-term sustainability of your Lean programs. Step 1 is quite a simple step, but extremely fundamental, and it is just to ask why. Seems really simple, but you'll be surprised at how many businesses don't take this fundamental step prior to beginning their Lean journeys. What you have to do when you ask why is really define the need. Don't pick something that is wishy-washy that you can't set real targets against. It's got to be specific. For example, one of the businesses that I've worked in the past was the sole supplier to a huge market. The market was in a boom time at the time, and they could hardly produce enough parts and enough product to supply that market. But slowly over time, that market began to change. It began to dwindle, and obviously, like most booms do, it was followed by a bust. So all of a sudden, their huge family-sized apple pie that they got for their market was suddenly greatly reduced into an individual pie. What made the situation worse was that there was 2 or 3 or 4 more suppliers entered into the market. So now, instead of having this huge pie that they could take great big bites out of and have a really strong business, all of a sudden it was greatly reduced, a smaller market, and they were only getting a section of that market. So they really had what I like to call a need to deploy Lean in their business. It was a need that drove passion amongst the leaders. Okay? Something that they can really set targets against and aim for. And that's the type of thing you're looking for with step 1. Define the need and make sure that it can drive passion. Like I said, Lean is a journey with no destination. It's long term in the greatest meaning of the sense. It's infinite. So that passion is going to be needed to continually improve and drive Lean into the business. Step 2 is take some time to reflect. Have a think about Lean. Do you have the knowledge to understand Lean? And is Lean right for your business? Lean has got the ability to do lots of things, lots of business improvement things, but can it do everything? And can it satisfy the need that you've identified in your business? I'm not sure, but before you set out on the road to Lean, you need to make sure that the leadership team are sure. Now, if you don't have the knowledge at this point in time, then pause here. Take some time to learn, to find out a little bit about Lean. Go out there and have a look at other businesses. Maybe arrange a tour around Toyota if you have a Toyota near you, or at least other businesses that are Lean around your area. And if you can get a business that is similar to yours, then all the better. So step 3 is around creating a vision. So we need to develop a vision of how your business is going to look once you have made it Lean. You've seen what it looks like in other businesses. You've had the time to reflect. You've decided that Lean's the way forward. Lean is going to remove your need. Now you need to imagine what it's going to look like in your business. How will your business look and feel once Lean is established? Step 4 is to communicate. you need to communicate two things, and you need to communicate well. The first thing you need to communicate is the need. Everybody within your business, shop floor workers, your back office workers, your leaders, they all need to understand why. Why are we asking them to change? Why are things changing around them? Without the need, without them understanding the need, you'll have confusion and you'll have disgruntled people. The second thing they need to know is the vision. So this is why they need to change, but what does the future look like? What does the future hold for them? So they know where they're going, where they're heading. Now, to do this communicating, memos and emails are not a good form of communication, particularly for lean leaders. Lean has to become a way of life for everybody. So communicate at every opportunity through your interactions, get posters put up around the place and information, hold training sessions and feedback sessions, and have employee conferences. Step 5 is to carefully select your change agents. You need to select people that have two qualities. The first is that they have a can-do attitude and a dogged determination to succeed. As I've already said a couple of times throughout this video, lean is a journey with no end. So to keep driving and striving for that continuous improvement, you've got to have a dogged determination, okay? And you've got to have a can-do attitude. The second quality that your change agents need is a high level of respect. And the reason for that is with respect comes influence. And that is going to be needed during your impending journey. If you're asking people to change, you're asking people to behave in a different manner, then influence and respect is going to be of high importance. Now you know my 5 steps. I suggest that as you complete each one, you write it down as a record. Then it can be pulled out in the future. As a reminder, should you begin to stray from the path or lose traction with your lean efforts. Well, that's my 5 steps. I hope you find them useful, and I wish you every success for the future. Thanks for listening. Bye.